I'll show you a search book I'm assembling, or I have assembled. I've made progress since assembling this, but I showed this image as a statement of my concern to um, a psychologist in Pittsburgh for the deaf. And she said, "What's the nature of your concern from that image?" I said, "You can see German headquarters. It says rather us with the U.S. over the swastika." She said, "Oh, you're cherry picking. You're just making something up from the camera angle. And you yak, yak, yak like a communist." So I backed off. I said, maybe you're right. Then I looked at it very closely, frame by frame. This goes by too fast to be seen, but the editor surely knew it was there. I've edited film before. They knew this was there. That's an image with the U.S. over the swastika bust of Hitler and Reagan sitting next to Errol Flynn, who was meeting with Hitler at the time. Rather us, U.S. over the swastika. These people made the Burning Cross for the KKK. It was Raoul Walsh who directed that movie. He was the assistant director for Birth of a Nation. And here you see one of Reagan's old films. Well, I was out there in front for a while, then bang, I was flat on my can. Now you're going to remember this day for an awfully long time. And just has all sorts of reminders of JFK. And they rerouted the motorcade, and at the time they were making a movie in Japan called Cruel Gun Story, in which they say, our plan is to get him onto this street. And Reagan's team was making an identical movie at the same time called The Killers, where they reroute. They stop a truck with two men in it and send them down a route where they can commit the crime. And the key is in the passenger's pocket, they say. And that's LBJ, of course. The key to what? And later in the course, it pans up to the upper left-hand corner of a building and says, "We'll be there waiting for you." And there's Reagan in the Oswald position. And he says, "Okay, start timing." He sees the sign, waits. Okay, start timing. He sees the sign, waits. That's exactly what happened. Give him 5 seconds, he says. That's exactly what happens in the Zapper film. He comes to the Stemmons Freeway sign, sees the sign, waits. Gets about 5 seconds. There's a book called 6 Seconds in Dallas. There's Angela Dickinson in The Killers with Reagan, who was having an affair with Kennedy at the time, and she gets the word that her boyfriend killed him. In the Killers, you know. What is it this time? Oh, they're always tearing up something. Says Hitler Reagan. So you see why I've been making these search books. There was a Charles Bronson in Dealey Plaza. Now we know the script. Here's my birthday in the movie The Diva. And the white is both good and evil because man is man. He is the walrus. She said she had something on tape. Where did it go? Where is this mysterious message in a bottle? Oh my goodness, it's in the postman's bag. It's in the postman's bag. You can see the letters they stashed on Jimmy Query so that the black man could say, where did he stash them letters? What's going on with the White Sox? When they were all good and ready to have their run on the bank. That's how this operated. Seattle and Pittsburgh did this through the Union. They call it the Green Party, right? They're human traffickers who poison, Jill poisoned with a purple disc thing. Jimmy Cray was all Shirella. Oh, how am I gonna? My soul conscience is taking over. My, I was vomiting. My conscience. You must stop. How could you do this to me? And good old Owen Riley doesn't see anything wrong in that picture. Oh, what's wrong in that picture? I don't see nothing wrong in that picture. Who's that? Who's that? The Green Man of Seattle. There's his name. Pitt News, all far away Pittsburgh with Lady Panthers, Dixon. Goodness. And we find the Green Party, German Green Party. Germany is the sacred, the black man. Germany. Germany is the sacred, the black man. On the back of the obituary, and it's on don't know who. Don't know who. They talk about Ian Wadmaker. He's in neurobehavioral research and brain surgery. They played King Crimson for me. Look what the purple disclaimer did to Jimmy Curry. This is macabre stuff, man. And they say I was making trouble. I was interfering with their plan for me. The role they assigned me, I was interfering by writing letters to stop South African apartheid and get Pitt to divest. So I was interfering. And they team up with this guy. He's in Goebbels. Surrounds my name and positive negative sons was talking about a scheme to transform the human race by injecting the blood from before AIDS happened, like the script in the kid's mailbag. And he ends up at Jackson Immunogenetic Laboratories with the Society for Human Ecology on Mount Desert Island, running Venus flytrap. And you don't talk about Noah because that ain't infinite. Don't talk about no. You don't talk about that. They poisoned me in the heart. And we find Arc of Colors signed by two Russian agents in 1974 at Tacoma UW Dialectical, TCC, little Al branch. And what is Zionists? I mean, the Japanese, I mean, Neva Mancine, I mean, Neva Pornographic doing for Jack Ruby and Gail Raven, I mean, Gail Burston and Peter Gabriel, who likeness is playing violin, like Minori Goto, Midori Teriyaki in Seattle Center. A C and a Star of David is their impresario logo. And here he goes. You know what you could get for that picture of Kenny getting his head blown off, he says in Odessa File. John talks about otherwise you can't get that for a fortune. Who came up with two versions of Poetry Ball? There's all kinds of symbolism in two versions of Poetry Ball. It went on for 100 years they were planning this. John Lennon obviously pulled it. He got honors rights. That's from How I Won the War. Look at how Licky, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin, confers the magic. And there she is on the cover of a record from 1979. Only two people would know who, me and Pope Carl. I'm broken science, broken science. You squeeze harder, he says, and the Dracula light comes on his eyes. The Bela Lugosi, you squeeze harder. Sexual self-destruct, the conscience of the West, just like double fantasy. Marquis the Twain. Marquis the Twain. Just like It would be just like starting over. So right there in that picture is the caption from that Ayn Rand film. It would be just like starting over, is what it says. Black and white film from the 50s. And there he is with Dee Dee Mancini in Magical Mystery Tour. And Dee Dee Allen is the first, like Woody Allen, everything you want to know about sex, but were afraid to tell your mother you already knew queer all. See the black, Lady Riefenstahl with the black psychologist? VNR planning and the neurosurgeon screaming for more at the 119. Dee Dee Allen, that's from Serpico. Serpico. They get you in the face, queer babe, because you're a white suck. And here's from Devil Behind the Sun about Unit 731. I reported what they were doing at CMU back in the 90s. Nobody, Pitt says no. They say at CMU, paranoid schizophrenic. Who's this Diag lady? You wanted some background on her? Her namesake called me when they play like John Lennon got killed. I was living with Obama's Army Director for Afghanistan at Temple Ambler. And they say, oh, no, that ain't true, queer all. Seattle says you ain't even going to, there's a microscopic image in the Jet magazine it comes from, but there's two women who look identical, and there's a Pete for J. Edgar Hoover, and this is Jet. Adam Clayton Powell called him Martin Luther King. And Seattle said, you're just a loser. You never make. I ended up in Phi Theta Kappa. They banned me from school for 12 long years, and nobody ever stepped forward to represent me in law because the black psychologist wanted to inject you for your lunch. It's a food fight over Licky Chop. They put a machine gun in a tennis racket. Come in, Ronald. They work with the neurosurgeons of Mount Desert Island with Joseph Goebbels, the black man of the Green Party, sacred the black Green Party. Yeah, what she got in her hand there? Stovall, Jagger Stovall, Lee Harvey Oswald, where he worked. See what the Beatles got their name? With the Beatles. Yep, that's what they did. And Seattle Central says, no, you're just a dirty communist white. You know cows yourselves, Cowie Queerbait. Come out and fight for Martin Luther King. Fight so they can suppress the evidence of hanky pank. This is why they wanted to no, it's not suppressed. It's whether you make the cut, whether you are the right stuff. How I won the war, right? They don't need no more White Sox. No, you is not through the looking glass. You is a paranoid schizophrenic. Want to see the evidence of my paranoid schizophrenia? There's some evidence. Just go ask Seattle. They'll put on their spinner beanie and tell it like it is.